Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we peek behind the curtain of big companies and sometimes, well, we find a little something more than just a sales pitch. Today we're diving into a recent filing from ORAGENICS Inc., a company that might have just extended a deal that keeps their doors open for ongoing stock sales. Now, ORAGENICS is a company that has been around and it operates in the biotechnology space. They're focused on developing and commercializing products for the treatment and prevention of infectious diseases and cancer. Think of them as a lab that is trying to create new medicines to fight off serious health threats. It's a tough business with long development times and high risks. But the potential rewards for success are huge if they can bring a breakthrough drug to market. So what is this filing all about? Basically, ORAGENICS had an existing agreement with a financial firm called Dawson James Securities. This agreement, which they first signed back in October of 2024, allowed ORAGENICS to sell shares of its common stock on the stock market. This is often called an at-the-market offering. It's a way for companies to raise money as needed by selling newly issued stock to investors through brokers. Now, the big news here is that on the 22nd of January of 2026, they signed an amendment to that original sales agreement. What does an amendment mean? It's essentially a modification or an update to the existing contract, so they are changing some of the terms of that deal. The main point of this amendment is to extend the duration of the sales agreement. Companies often do this to give themselves more time to raise capital through stock sales. It's like saying, we still need more time to sell our stock to raise funds for our operations or research, so let's keep this arrangement going. This extension allows ORAGENICS to continue selling its shares through Dawson James. This arrangement will now last until either they've sold all the shares they intended to sell under this agreement, or until a certain registration statement that they need for selling shares expires. The registration statement is a document that essentially tells the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, that the company is allowed to sell more stock. If that official permission expires, then they can't sell more stock through this method. So they are keeping the option open to sell more of their common stock. This is a standard practice for companies, especially those in research and development phases where they might need continuous funding. It's important for investors to understand that when a company does this, it means more shares will be out there in the market. This can potentially dilute the ownership stake of existing shareholders, meaning each share represents a smaller piece of the company than before. It's a trade-off between getting needed cash and potentially reducing the value of existing shares by increasing their supply. Now, about the financials, this particular filing, an 8K, is an important report that a company files to announce major events that shareholders should know about. While this specific filing doesn't contain detailed financial statements like a quarterly 10Q or an annual 10K, it does point to ongoing financial strategies. ORAGENICS is essentially saying they are going to continue their strategy of raising money through the sale of their stock. We don't have the specific numbers for how much money they've raised or how much they expect to raise from this extended agreement in this report, but the fact that they are extending it suggests they have a continued need for capital. This could be for funding their drug development pipeline, for clinical trials, or for general operational costs. This filing also includes some standard housekeeping items like the cover page information and exhibits. The exhibits are basically the actual documents that are being referenced, like the amendment to the sales agreement itself. They also list the interactive data file that's embedded. This is all part of the SEC's push for companies to share their financial information in a way that computers can easily read and process. Looking at the broader picture for ORAGENICS, companies in the biotech sector often rely on these kinds of stock sales to fund their lengthy and expensive research and development cycles. It's a necessary evil sometimes to keep innovation alive. However, it's crucial for investors to keep an eye on the company's progress in developing its products. If the drug development pipeline isn't showing promise, then continuous stock sales can be a sign of a company struggling to become profitable. So, what's my take on this? ORAGENICS is doing what growing biotech companies often do, using the stock market to fund its operations and research. The extension of the sales agreement is a sign that they anticipate needing more money in the near future. This isn't necessarily good or bad on its own. It really depends on what they are doing with that money, and if their core business of developing new medical treatments is progressing. A key risk here is that if ORAGENICS fails to develop and get approval for its new drugs, these stock sales will only prolong the inevitable. Conversely, if they are on the cusp of a major breakthrough, then continuing to fund their research through these sales is a smart move. Investors should be looking for updates on their clinical trial results and their progress towards regulatory approval. In conclusion, ORAGENICS has extended its agreement to sell stock through Dawson James. This tells us they are preparing for continued funding needs. Keep an eye on their research progress and product development news, as that will be the real driver of their long-term success, not just their ability to sell shares. Alright, that is our breakdown of ORAGENICS' latest filing. What is your take on this move and what it signals for the company's future? Do you think this is a smart strategy or a sign of deeper financial challenges? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.